Hi, this is Ari from Palmeri Arts Crafts, coming to you from Adirondack region in New York State. Welcome back. This is a knitting channel. I talk everything about knitting projects that I am working on or I finished. Sometimes I talk about my personal life, what has been going on. So usually I shoot video for the knitting section, and if you are interested in other story of my life, then you can stay, and if you're not, you can stop the video right there. Anyways, I haven't been uploading podcast for 8 months, and I will talk about it later because life happens, right? So I don't have a lot of, despite not shooting video for 8 months, I don't have a lot of projects to share, but I have few. So first one is something I talked about in the last video, that I wanted to gift my friend who gave me yarn, some beanie. So for my friend who gave me yarn, and for her husband and her child who is I think he's about 9 years old. And I found this pretty pattern from Pearl Soho. Pearl Soho has been very popular and famous right now, and they have a lot of free patterns. So if you're looking for free patterns, I highly recommend their website. And that pattern I found is traveling cable hat, and this is the pattern. And I have hard, oh, there you go. I have a hard time focusing on things because this is my new camera, new phone actually. But anyways, look at this pretty cable pattern. It has a little brim right here, and I don't know if you can tell, but this is really fuzzy. There you go. It's really fuzzy and soft. So she gave me some yarn, which is Cascade 220. I don't know why this is not, there you go. Cascade 220 superwash. And as you can see, this is heather and solid yarn, and I had this Aloft. Oh my goodness, it's very hard to, how do I do this? I'm sorry. This is my first time after changing my phone from iPhone 8 Plus to 14 Pro, which is 2 weeks ago. So this is my first time shooting a video with this phone, and I apologize if I cannot focus on things very well. I obviously need to practice a little more. There you go, Aloft. This is lace weight. So when I saw this color, immediately I thought about this yarn that I already own. So I wanted to blend these two together to make it softer and prettier. I debated a little bit because this is superwash yarn, and this is a blend of kids mohair and silk, so it's not gonna be a superwash. So I debated if I should just knit with this and make it easier to take care of, or do I want to make it prettier. Ended up I made it prettier and softer to wear. So Cascade 220, it's very popular yarn and pretty reasonable yarn. This is obviously 220 yards and has 100 grams. And this Aloft is a lace weight and has 260 yards and 25 grams. So they are very nice to work with. I really love both yarn. And I'm thinking I actually do have a bunch of color with Aloft. So either I'm going to double strand and mix with different yarn, or possibly make a very light lace shawl. So I haven't decided yet, but it's a very nice yarn to work with. And then for her husband and her son, I decided to make something really simple because I don't know what they like really. So I got this beanie, and it's stockinette stitch, as you can see. So it was very easy. Basically, you just need to go knit, 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 knit. Especially it's working in circular, so you don't have to use purl. I do highly recommend this beanie for people who are just starting to knit and would like to knit hat, then you can constantly work on your knit stitch to practice, and you don't have to worry about so many, different decrease or increase or anything like that. But for advanced knitter, it might be boring. If you're gonna work only for this hat, I'm sure you're gonna get bored. So I highly recommend to make this between your complicated project, which most advanced knitter has more than one project, I believe. I usually have like 2 or 3 laying around. So yeah, this one is between project for me, for sure. It's great when you don't want to really focus on what's going on with a pattern or has to count numbers. It's a great project when you are just talking to people, hanging out with people. You like to pay attention what's going on, but still like to work on your hands, or binge watching movie or TV. So anyways, I didn't share the pattern name, which I cannot pronounce this pattern name. I think I said that last time and I still don't know how to pronounce it. It's Norwegian, so it's written and written as how I speak. It's Strix Collins Hugh by Pia Trans. It's STRIKKESKOLENS, and separate word Hue, H-U-A. Excuse me, H-U-E. Not quite sure what that means either, but it's very nice pattern. One of the reasons I really like is little unique. Usually when you make beanie, you have little long brim and then you fold in half. That's how usually happens. This one is little different. So let me undo this. So you are going to knit from the top all the way to maybe like around here. And then fold it and sew it together right here. This is sewed. And then instead of wearing like this, I'm going to fold the middle and then put it up. Yeah, let me do this here. Put it up like this. I don't know if you can see what I'm trying to say. So this ends up with 3 layers, one for hat, one for behind of the brim, and one outside. So it will keep your ears really warm. And like I said, I am in northern New York where crazy cold day can be 20 below. And sometimes you still have to be outside shoveling snow. So figured this would be a really nice hat for her husband and her child, who probably like to play outside, sledding and all sorts of things. So that was my first 3 projects I finished. And then I did talk about, I like to knit 1 beanie per month this year, because I heard a story about foster care and how children need a lot of, basic supplies. I'm not going in detail because I talked about this last episode, but after hearing some stories, I wanted to knit hat beanies for children. Like I said, this area is very cold, so I thought that would be really nice. Right after I said that, I found St. Jude Children's Hospital Research Center is doing fundraising event, and they do this challenge here and there, like baking challenge, running challenge, and they had knitting challenge. And basically you share your passion of knitting or fiber or even crochet in social media, and you're going to share what you're doing while you ask people to donate. So anyways, I already decided I'm going to knit beanie for children. I decided to join that group and also do the fundraising for St. Jude Hospital. So instead of knitting one beanie per month, month of March, it turned into a one beanie per week. So it was a little crazy for me, but I wanted to do some knit along with knitters that I know. Unfortunately, I didn't do very well on the social media, so I don't think many people saw it who are a knitter. And one person joined for knit along. Her name is Terry, which was very nice of you, Terry. If you're watching, thank you so much. So what I did was I'm going to show people the free pattern I found and what kind of yarn I am using. And then next week, I will start casting on and start knitting, show the progress. And then at the end of the week, I will show the finished beanie and do same thing for the next week. So I have 4 different style of beanies because of that challenge that I did. And I'm going to show Terry's hat beanies that she made as well. And I just wanted to say, Terry is artist and crafter, and she does quilling. And when I heard quilling, I don't know if you know quilling, I had no idea what the quilling is. It is a paper. I said quilling, like quilt, and people are like, no, it's not a quilt, it's a paper craft. So basically she has this very thin craft paper in different colors, and she basically make picture out of it. So on the canvas, you will put paper, you will glue paper, but not this way, not the flat way, but standing up. And then you combine different colors and create picture, like painting, but paper. And it's mind-blowing, it's beautiful. And if she's okay with it, I will put the picture right here just to show you what I am talking about. So she does beautiful work, and she does knitting with her sister every morning. I wish I have that relationship with my sibling. I only have a brother who is in Japan, and he has nothing to do with knitting. So that's not going to happen with me, but maybe someday I can find a friend who likes to do that. Anyways, let me show you 4 different projects that I worked on. So first one was, nope, I lost my paper. See, this is what happened with me. Oh, there you go. Did I? Yes, I did. Okay, good. Sorry. The first one I did is the pattern called Undaunted by Laura Cameron. And I used the yarn. I love this yarn from Hobby Lobby. And it is acrylic yarn, by the way, because, you know, children can be messy, and I think many people doesn't want to deal with hand washing, so I used acrylic yarn. So anyways, this was a really nice yarn. It doesn't split, it's very soft, and the stitch definition is pretty good. Oops, I'm always having issue with this focus, huh? Okay, so the reason I really like this is very simple ribbing beanie, and clearly this is for smaller child, but once the child grows, the hat grows too. So I thought that would be really nice, since I don't know the child personally. So I made this purple. It's same yarn, just different color. It has a glitter. I don't know if you can tell, but it's got glitter. It's very pretty. So these 2 are something I made, and Terry made this too. The white one with also has little glitter. It's very pretty. So that was my first week, and I think second week I did these. Actually, I made 2. So instead of 1 beanie per month, it turned into like 2 beanies one beanie per week turned into a 2 beanies per week. So this pattern is Chunky Two-Tone Fair Isle Pom-Pom Hat by Tara Marie. So it's really cute. It looks like there's a lot of hearts on it. The yarn I used is the Lion brand Thick and Quick, which is mostly acrylic and has a little bit of wool. So it's still washable, and it's very thick. It's a chunky yarn, so things goes very quick when you are knitting. And Terry made this cute little one with pom-pom. How cute is this? This is definitely for like a newborn baby or very young baby. It's super cute. So that's my second week. And the third week I did use the same pattern, but not with two colors. So just solid, simple hat. And then white one with gold strands blended in, so it's also sparkly. And this is also the same yarn, just different color and style. And Terry made these two. It's so pretty with different color. Absolutely love it. I forgot to mention, but when I was knitting this, I was thinking this would be a really good project for the beginner who would like to start color work but intimidated by it. This is one of the easiest project you can work on, since you only need to change color once every 4 stitches or 5 stitches. So it's easy to carry the yarn, and it's easy to kind of like hold two strands at the same time when you're working on the color work. So I highly recommend this one. Okay, and the last week I did, this is my favorite design. The design is called Look Out Winter by Roberta Rich. And it has a little ear flap, so it will keep little ears warm. And this bottom part is knit this direction and has I-cord edge, so it looks really nice and neat. And once you're done with this section, you will pick up the stitches and then work towards that way like regular hat. It was very easy but little different than regular beanie, and I really like this design. I'm thinking to make couple of them for my kids. Oh my, I'm having really hard time with focus. There you go, that's better. All right, and of course Terry made one for me, well, for a child. So beautiful colors, very colorful. I kind of like this color change. It's like a solid color change, and the same thing happens in the back too. It kind of reminds me of Pride Month. So pretty. So these are the March knitting challenge, and I'm wearing t-shirts today because I got t-shirts from St. Jude. So that was really nice of them to send a t-shirt. So yeah, I was happy. I mean, I raised maybe like $300, which is not much for research center, but better than nothing, right? So maybe I made a teeny tiny bit of difference. My kids say teensy tiny bit. That's what my 6 years old say, teensy tiny bit. Anyways, those are the project. I do have more finished project. Oh yeah, one is a lace panel. I talked about this and showed in last year podcast. I'm pretty sure I did that. It's vintage doily pattern, but instead of using as a doily, I got this big metal hoop and attach the edge to the hoop, so it looks like wall panel. It's almost look like the part of what is that called? Dreamcatcher. And it turned out really pretty, and I had it for sale on Etsy. It didn't get sold right away because it's pretty expensive, and if you have tried to, or you are selling knitted product, you know it takes so much time, but then you cannot really price by hours you worked. So even though the panel was took so much time, I still couldn't charge by hours. So it wasn't possible for me to make so many of them and sell it as a product. So I ended up making just one. Anyways, this spring, I met, sorry, I'm losing words. I met event planner, and she started having storefront to meet people and show what she can do. And I met her and I was talking about knitting stuff that I do, and I was showing her picture, and she said, "Oh my goodness, this panel is so pretty." And she goes, "Can you rent this in this store?" And I'm like, what? Is that even possible? And she's like, "Yeah, you can rent things through my store." So, you know, she have a storefront. She have people who likes to do wedding or other event comes in, and then she can show some designing decoration setting. And if I put that panel and also a wedding shawl that I make, she can rent it out. And I thought that was such a great idea because yes, selling one panel, it can be expensive, might not sold, it's not, I cannot price appropriately, and I don't get really paid. But if I rent it out, I make one panel, people can afford to use it during the wedding or other event to take pictures, but they don't have to keep them. So their cost will be down, and I will be able to let people use multiple times. So at one point, it will cover the hours I worked on. So that's what I worked on, and I made one panel. And the shawl is also going to her store. So I'm very excited, and I don't get to work with local business much ever since I tried to do more designing and digital aspect of my business. So it's really nice to actually see people and work together, and also some of my products still give other people joy and happiness. So that is really nice way, and I really love the idea. So I'm very excited about that. Anyways, so that was my another finished project, and the other one is this scarf. And I know I showed this scarf before, I think last fall, but what I finished is follow along video. So I made a pattern and published this spring, and I worked with test knitters, which was so nice. It was great to work with other knitters and exchange opinions or what they are doing or how they modified. It was so much fun to see. So if you are watching, thank you so much for helping my journey to publish more patterns. And I didn't know what to name this scarf, and I posted on the social media if anybody has any idea, and one of my friends said it looks like a daisy, so I like to name this Love Me Not. And I thought that was a great idea. I loved the idea. So this scarf is posted as Love Me Not scarf, and not as in like not N-O-T, but K-N-O-T. So that was a great idea, and the pattern is available through my Etsy store or Ravelry store for purchase, but I also have free patterns posted on my website. So, you know, if you cannot afford to buy yarn and pattern, you can use free version, and the PDF is for purchase on Ravelry and Etsy. And if you feel like supporting my business, I appreciate you purchasing the pattern. So that is another finished project, and another one I finished. I don't have it right here because I already gifted to my friend. My best friend, she is from Tennessee, and I met her in Tennessee as an international student. So my first 2 years of college was in Tennessee, and then I moved to New York State for State University of New York. But when I met her back in 2005, found out her boyfriend at that time, now they are married, her boyfriend and she are interested in Japanese culture. So naturally, you know, we start hanging out more. And while I was in the college, they came to my home during the winter break to actually experience Japan. And that was such a great time, and they get to see kimono because it was coming of age day for me in Japan, which is you are officially adult in Japan when you're 20. So whole entire classmates from middle school get together and wear beautiful kimono and, you know, basically party, kind of like some official ceremony from the government, and then after that you just party basically. But they get to see like so many beautiful kimono, and they were so happy about that. They were happy they get to actually see how people live and get to see some old town, Kyoto, and also Tokyo. So we had a really good time together, and because of that experience, they decided to live in Japan after graduating college. So they were in Japan for 5 years while I'm working in this country. So we kind of like exchanged country, kind of. Anyways, when I told her I am transferring to New York State, she said, "What town? Like, where are you going?" And I told her it is small town in closer to Canadian border, and I told her the town name, and she's like, "You got to be kidding me. Her mom is from the same town I choose to transfer. Like, what kind of coincidence is this, right?" So that was just surprising for me to find out I chose a college that's located in the hometown of her mom, and her grandparents still live here, and her aunt at that time, she was working at the library in the college I'm going to attend. So what a craziness, right? So I don't know if you believe in reincarnation, but I grew up in Japan, and I am not practicing religion, but obviously our culture has some Buddhist influence. So I do believe in reincarnation. And sorry, my husband came in and my dog is barking outside really loud, so I got distracted. But if there is any reincarnation exist, then I think I know her before this life, and we are either good friend or we were family member. That's how I feel. So anyways, she got a baby. They were so happy. She had such a beautiful baby, and I wanted to knit something for them. And I was thinking, you know, typical blanket, or do you see my dog? Do you hear my dog? I'm sorry. He yaps a lot when somebody comes to home. Kids, my husband, it doesn't matter, he yaps. So I'm sorry if you hear that in the background. But anyways, I was saying I was going to knit typical blanket or baby clothes. But then I came across this book in the library, and they are a big Star Wars fan. And I thought this is such a perfect thing to knit. Star Wars knitting the galaxy. It's perfect. And they have stuffed animal like these. So I was going to knit these little ones. But then I realized when I was going through, there is a little hoodie made for a baby or toddler or kids. And this is Ewok, by the way. Like, if you know Star Wars, you know Ewok. And this is an Ewok hoodie, so that's like imitation of ears. And I just fell in love with the design, the idea of it. So I ended up I ended up making Ewok hood for them. So this is a picture. Since I don't have it in here, it's in their hands now. And if my friend is okay with it, I will also post a picture of a baby wearing Ewok hood. So anyways, that is pretty much what I made in last 8 months. I also made some pumpkins and also making more pumpkins for the fall, so I can bring it to the store. I am selling a few little things in that store, and I really don't have a lot of work in progress. Sorry, just a second. anyways, I was saying, yeah, I don't have a whip right now to show, but since it's getting chilly, it's such a beautiful fall right now. I think foliage is coming really soon, and I've been working on acrylic yarn because I'm making things for little humans. So I would like to work with really nice. Sorry, not sure what's going on down there. I want to make something, well, use a yarn that is wool and more like luxury yarn, like hand painted, hand dyed, that kind of yarn. So yes, I'm spinning my head trying to come up with a project. And also I used to sell mug cozy, and I am making a pattern right now to publish. So that's coming soon. It looks like this one. That's coming soon, and I would like to make a video for follow along, and if any tutorials seems to be needed, then I will make more tutorials. So that's my plan. So this is pretty much what I wanted to talk about for knitting. So if you only wanted to see knitting project or listen hear about knitting, then this is a great place to stop the video. If you are interested in my personal stories, then I will talk about it a little bit and what has been going on in last 8 months. So first, I clearly took me 8 months to do podcast after last one. Last podcast, I was so excited. It's gonna be New Year's. I wanted to do so many things. I was actually gonna clean up some boxes that has forgotten yarn inside, or it was whipped and never got finished and is still in the box, and clear all things out and either rewind the yarn or finish the project I've started many years ago. That was another plan too, but I couldn't get to it because right after that podcast, I started having pain on my hand. Well, it was more like a numbness and tingly feeling on these 2 fingers, and pain on my, it's a dull pain on my shoulder and throughout my arm. I thought it might be carpal tunnel because that's pretty common for people who do a lot of knitting or crochet, but when I saw the description, it just didn't really feel right. It didn't feel like carpal tunnel, so I was trying to figure it out, and I came across this YouTube video from Jason Williams, DC Chiropractic and Rehab. That's a channel name. It will show how to move your arm to self-test self-test if you have pinched nerve. And there are 3 major nerve running through, from your neck through your arm to your fingers, and the person will show you what kind of movement you can do to kind of diagnose what nerve is creating issue, like what nerve is being pinched and creating, the hand problem or arm pain. And I did that, and it was spot on. When I did some motion, couple of them are spot on. It shot pain right away. So I figured it's pinched nerve. And after that, I found a channel called Ask Dr. Joe, and there was a video about nerve glide. And nerve glide is basically kind of like a stretch and release that pinch. And there's a video for each nerves how to do it, and that helped really helped me. It was amazing. However, the pain continued for about 1.5 to 2 months, so I couldn't knit so much, and it was very frustrating. Despite I have so much idea, I couldn't do it. And another reason I started having pain, well, first of all, when I start knitting, I can go without break for like, if I need to knit 5 hours, I would totally do it, and it's really bad for you. So please take a break. I am getting better at making setting the timer, so when timer goes off, I try to put things down, even it's middle of the row. I'm trying to put things down and then stretch or do something else. So please take a break and do some stretch when you're knitting. But another problem was computer. If I'm not knitting, I'm in front of the computer, and obviously everyone know computer, being in front of the computer sitting all day can cause problem. My desk setting was awful. I have antique desk and laptop and like regular, very simple office chair. So clearly it was not set up for computer, and my hand was higher than my elbow. So I was holding a mouse like this, and it was fine for a long time, but apparently it turned into a problem because I've been working on that setting way too long. So I ended up changing my office setting during that period. Got different kind of desk upstairs, and actually using computer desk and trying to make keyboard and a mouse lower than my elbow. So I am not straining nerve right here. And also, amazing thing is, I didn't even realize, but you know, like traditional mouse is flat, so you hold the mouse like this, and then you moving cursor like this, right? So natural human posture, when you put arm down, your hand is like this, not like this. So if you are holding a mouse, you are rotating your hand and twisting, and that's cause nerve pain or pinched nerve also. And moving this strains your wrist too. I didn't know that, and when I was trying to figure out how to set up my computer, another thing I wasn't doing was my laptop is lower, so I'm always looking, and then I'm doing this and hunched over. So that was definitely a not good posture to keep going. So I also got a stand to lift my computer up, so my laptop screen is right in front of my face, above the same level. So in that way you can look like this instead of like this. In that way your spine is straight. And sorry, I jumped the topic. Mouse. Come to the mouse. I found this ergonomic mouse, and I knew these things exist, but I thought it was for more like gaming and kind of like a style. But actually this one has it's slanted, so this is definitely for right-handed. So instead of holding a mouse flat, this one allow you to keep the natural posture of your hand and arm. And instead of doing this and strain your wrist, you can use this ball with your thumb to move the cursor. So this actually helped a lot. I was amazed how much it helped. The one I got is, there's so many of them. The one I got is Logi, Logi, and the model name was Argo M575. So this is what I got. And on top of it, when I'm knitting and I feel like my hand is tired or getting tired, or I know I'm going to knit a lot because I have to finish something, then I wear these gloves. Oh, wrong. No, this is the wrong way. This is not the right hand. I wear these gloves. So basically, this is giving you a little pressure and support. So it feels tighter. It's not super tight, but it feels tighter around my hand, and this is giving compression. So it's supporting your hand muscle, and it's not like, you wear this and pain goes away, but it's definitely helping. And I think this is made for arthritis, but at the same time, some people say it is great for carpal tunnel. So I ended up getting these. It feels weird when you're knitting because this is like extra layer. So it took me a while to get used to it, but this is great things to use if you constantly knit. So I highly recommend these gloves. Okay, so that is what was going on. I was trying to like figure out my body, figure out my office setting. So that took me a while. And then meanwhile, my website crashed. It was right before I started test knitting for this scarf. I think, yes, I set up the way that people can apply for test knitting on my website. So I was directing people to, hey, go to this page and fill out the form and apply for test knitting. And after that was done, I published everything on social media trying to get test knitters. My website crashed completely. It was gone. And it took me forever to fix the problem. And I went between Bluehost and my well, basically it was Bluehost, different people, just back and forth. And I was told different things all the time. And I was told it's fixed and give us 24 hours. And 24 hours later, it's still not working. And contact again. So that was very frustrating. And at one point, I was told it's designer's problem. Like designer didn't design in the right way. This doesn't work with the Bluehost and theme, which was weird because I've been using it for over a year. So I contacted the designer where I purchased theme from, and I am not a computer person. I am not a web designer. All I did was get the WordPress, get the Bluehost, downloaded theme, and that was it. That's basically what I did. So I contacted the theme designer, said, hey, so-and-so, I'm having problem. I don't know what to do. Bluehost keep giving me different answer. And I don't mind paying the support, but could you help me? This company has been amazing ever since I got the theme. I'm pretty sure I got theme for like $30, $25. So it's really inexpensive. And they could have said, hey, you purchased theme. That's all you get. If you want extra support, we will charge you. I was expecting that if I need help from them, but I needed help like maybe 3 times in last a year and a few months. And every time they are willing to get on my account. So I provide them with temporary password and they get into my account and actually fix the problem. And probably to them, it's not a major problem, but to me, I don't know what I'm doing. So it's such a huge help. And I cannot believe they just do that for someone who bought theme. So really highly recommend if you're trying to make website by yourself and looking for the theme. Highly recommend the company called WAT Design Express. They are on Etsy and there are so many themes. Everything is so pretty. I had really hard time deciding what I like to get, but their customer service is exceptional. So I do recommend that company. So that was going on, very frustrating, a week and a half going back and forth, and finally got solved. So my time was basically focused on website and not the knitting. And then test knitting started. It was really fun. So that's like my first 3 to 4 months of this year. Meanwhile, I didn't know if I wanted to talk about this, honestly. I didn't want people to be like, oh, you're making excuse or being like whining. So I didn't want people to say or feel that way, but I think I'm gonna share because I already shared my mental health last May, not this May but last year. So I was doing fine. I did talk about I had crisis, and after that I basically left the job. And when you leave job, you lose all the benefit, right? So I lost the health insurance too. So I stopped going to the doctor and getting prescription just because it's going to be way too expensive and I'm not working, so income is less than before. So I stopped and I was doing fine. So I'm like, oh, I'm fine without medication. And I went like that for about a year. And then at one point I started feeling something is off. And it feels like really dark cloud is coming towards you and creeping into your head. That's how it feels like. And I ignored it. I know I shouldn't, but I said, oh, it's just a temporary thing, so it's gonna go away. And sometimes I'm fine, sometimes completely fine, and then goes down. So it was like a wave, up and down, up and down. And at one point it was down, 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 down. And at that point I said, okay, I need to see doctor, especially after busy holiday. You're just running. It's kind of like a burnt out after the new year. Weather is not nice, it's cold, dark. That's probably part of it too, but it just kept going down. So I finally said, okay, I need to see my doctor and get back on the medication. So I got back on medication, which is great, but of course I haven't been on medication. She wanted to start from low dose, which is understandable, and for my body to adjust to that was really hard. I got dizzy, I got really tired and sleepy. Anyway, so that was going on, and many things also broke, not just my website. Wood stove broke, and you'd be like, how in the world does wood stove break? That's exactly how I felt too. And we cleaned the wood stove. My husband cleaned the chimney, so it wasn't that for sure. And it's new. It's 2 years old wood stove. One day it just not lighting the fire, the smoke is not going out, and we thought since it's spring, the temperature is warmer outside and stove wasn't used, so it's cold and it takes time to get heated up and have this air pressure because of the temperature change is harder than during the winter time. And our wood stove is pretty large, so it takes a while to heat up. So we thought that was a problem. But then one day the CO detector went off, the carbon monoxide detector went off, and I'm like, evacuate outside. And my husband is like, that must be false alarm. Like, I don't care, we have a detector for a reason, get out. So we went outside and called fire department, and sure enough, we had carbon monoxide inside of the house. So they went all over the house, open up the window, get things out, and it was definitely the wood stove, and the wood inside was causing carbon monoxide. The question is, what in the world is going on, right? Like, it's not chimney fire, the air is not going out, so we couldn't figure it out. And we cleaned the stove too, so we thought that's not the problem. Anyways, we had a technician come in from the store we got the wood stove from, and we found out that we're supposed to open up the top of the stove and vacuum inside and clean all the filter, and we didn't know that. And unfortunately, he explained to us that technician who installs a wood stove is supposed to be explaining it to us, and both of them are like, no, he told us how to clean, but he didn't tell us anything about that. And then after that, he tried to open up the top, and he couldn't because the bolt that's supposed to be taken out after installation was still inside, and it's not supposed to be in there. So it's kind of like with the heat and everything, it was stuck in there, and he couldn't even take the bolt out. So my husband was trying to get metal cutter and all sorts of things to get the bolt out. So he's like, I believe you. The other person didn't explain how to clean this stove because he couldn't have done it if these bolts are in. So I guess we got unlucky, and luckily nobody got hurt, nobody got sick. So that was a lucky part. And he said the combustor is completely fried. It's really rough shape. He's like, I never seen this bad before. I'm going to bring it to the shop and show it to everyone. That's how bad it was. And our wood stove is newer, like I said. So this is energy efficient wood stove. So when you burn the wood, there's a gas coming, right? And that gas will circulate I think it's filtered, and come back to the wood stove and reburn that gas. So, you know, you get 2 burn out of 1 pile of wood. So that's energy efficient. To be said, there's extra things inside that we need to take care of. So from now on, we know what to do. So that's great. So after that happened, a week later, our boiler broke. We didn't have hot water, and we said, what in the world is going on? And realized the boiler is completely fried. That's a long story short. It was also a maintenance person wasn't doing his job. So we really got unlucky with technicians for some reasons. So if got fried, there's no way of fixing it. So we have to entirely reinstall a new boiler. Very expensive. I was not expecting that expensive. And we had emergency electric hot water tank. So we did have hot water, and it was towards the end of spring. So luckily we didn't need heater right away. And I am so grateful this didn't happen in the winter. Like, I cannot imagine if we had this in the winter, then we're gonna have tons of problem, like pipe freezing, and we don't have hot water, we don't have heater. So I am grateful it happened in the spring, and we had time to fix it. So those things just got fixed last month. And then I think it was a week after that, my husband's truck got hit and run, which was like, we were just like, again, like, what else is gonna break? So yeah, he was in the parking lot. Well, he parked truck, and we went to the store, and we got cold. And the person who hit the truck, that was another truck with a hitch. So basically, hitch went up under and then ripped the bumper off. Basically, ran away. Didn't stay at the site. And we are told by cop, usually they don't catch the person. Well, we got lucky again. The cop caught the person, and now we know who did it. And since we know this happened for sure, we ended up be able to get get the insurance, auto insurance to cover everything. So that was actually a lucky part after all. So yeah, crazy things happen in the spring. And meanwhile, my kids, again, who plays hockey and figure skating, they wanted to continue during the spring and summer. So winter sports turned into a year-round sports. It was pretty hectic. Summer league for hockey was more intense than winter league, since we traveled a long distance, and happened to be 3 of them are in New Jersey. So we drove all the way from northern New York all the way to New Jersey 3 times within 2 months, while school is still going. So that was pretty crazy. The skating was pretty mellow. They do once a week in the evening, so that was durable. And of course, at the end of school, they have a lot of activities, field day, something like that. So we had so much fun, but it was busy. And while all of these things are going on, I also figured out that I may have ADHD, and I never thought I have ADHD. I thought ADHD is like a person who cannot sit still and very hyperactive. It's pretty obvious to other people. I thought that's what ADHD is. And clearly I wasn't educated enough on that aspect. One of the person who come to knitting circle, I organize a knitting circle locally. The person who come to knitting circle, she told me she has ADHD, and I told her I wouldn't have known if she didn't tell me. And then she was mentioning there are different type of ADHD, and inattentive type is sometimes get missed because it's not so obvious. And she started telling me what she has been struggling with entire life, and every single thing she said is something I have been struggling with. And I just couldn't believe what she like all of those things that she starts saying, like, me too, me too, me too. So that's when I start to wonder. And once I start reading things, or okay, sorry, it was my dog yapping again. Anyways, what was I saying? Oh, so I start reading books and did checklist, and most of them are something that's applied to me. I was kind of relieved because whatever I struggled with the entire life, I thought it was me. Like, I forget things easily. I lose my phone all the time. I'm constantly looking for my phone. Luckily, I have Fitbit that can make noise on my phone so I can find it. When I was little or younger, when I take message from neighbor when they call the landline, I forget to tell my parents. I just completely forget to tell my parents. That's completely erased from my mind. So, because of that repeated event, I always thought I have awful memory, and that turned into some sort of affected my self-confidence. So at work, I was constantly making a little note, and I had a sticky note on my computer all the time, always writing it down. Every time I finish work, I feel like I must have forgot something. Maybe I'm forgetting something. So tons of anxiety. But that's something you can experience with ADHD. I was always taken as quiet, or in my own world, or when I'm focusing, it's not really approachable because I'm like this. But meanwhile, things are like going on, lots going on in my head, a lot of thought, it's just, brain is busy. It just doesn't look like it from outside, I guess. Sometimes I'm not listening to people, I think. I do cut people while someone is talking, or finish the sentence as I'm listening, which is, I'm sure it's super annoying. So I learned that throughout my life and try not to do that. So it takes a lot of energy and focus to communicate with people if I try not to do that. So yeah, I thought it was just my personality. Turned out there is a condition, ADHD, that kind of cause all of those things. The other thing is I'm reading a book. I read the entire page thinking I'm reading, and I'm reading, but it's not registering in my head, or like thinking about something else while I am reading the page. So I have to go back again and reread again in order to register in my head. So that was very hard. That is very hard. Now I do more of an audiobook, so I can knit while I'm doing, but sometimes I rewind here and there that I don't remember what it said. TV show is the same. I thought I was watching and turned out I wasn't watching, so I have to rewind. So I'm 95% positive I have ADHD, but do I need to be diagnosed officially, or do I just accept, or just think I have ADHD, so I'm just gonna roll with it? I learn from books and all sorts of things and roll with it. So that's something I'm thinking what to do. And if you have ADHD or worked with people with ADHD, please let me know what your experience is, because I really willing to learn. And I mentioned to my doctor when I got back on medication, and she wasn't so convinced to refer me to a different doctor who does adult ADHD. So I haven't been there yet. Again, it might be expensive too, so I don't know what I am expecting. I was told there will be tests, and that's scares me. I grew up in Japan, and it's such a society of exam to get in high school, to get in the college. Everything is graded. So I grew up in that society. When I hear test, it gives me like a lot of anxiety. So I think that's part of it, that I haven't been to a specialist. Anyways, I think that was it, and it's been over an hour, and I was gonna finish this in like 30 minutes. Clearly I'm talking too much, but thank you so much for watching all the way to the end. And I also wanted to mention, because I wasn't uploading, I thought my YouTube channel will be invisible and less viewer, and it's gonna disappear from the search engine. That's what I thought. But despite my concern and anxiety, I reached to over 1,000 subscribers, which was really was surprising. So today I think I have over 1,200, and I really appreciate your support. I just couldn't believe it when I saw the number. So thank you so much for hitting a like on my video, or subscribing this channel, and also to leave a comment on the video, because some of them saying how helpful my tutorial was, and it really encourages me, because there are days I thought I'm just gonna quit everything. So I really appreciate your support and taking time to make a comment. If you know anything about depression, or want to share anything about depression, ADHD, mental health, knitting, of course, please feel free to make a comment below, and I will try to get back to you. Anyways, I will see you next month, and I hope you will enjoy beautiful fall. Okay, thank you. See you next time. Happy knitting.